Rev up your engines!
Well, I don't say I didn't warn you, but of course I did. Stellantis is now laying off 2,450 plant workers because they're discontinuing their classic Ram truck in a factory here in the United States. They're stopping making this Ram 1500 version in Michigan, and they're laying all the workers off. It was a low-cost pickup to sell to entry-level buyers. And of course, as we all know, these companies are greedy pigs, and they don't want to sell you the cheap pickup trucks. They want to sell you the ones that are $80,000, $90,000. Well, guess what? It's going to come and bite them in the rear end because then people will stop buying them entirely. The very fact that they're selling $90,000 pickup trucks tells you these people are out of touch with the reality. They just think, oh, we'll just charge more. We'll make bigger ones. Well, eventually, they'll become like the dinosaurs and go extinct. And of course, Stellantis, being a European company, they don't understand American pickup trucks. So now they're just firing all the people that made them. So again, here we have Stellantis laying off American workers. If they thought they were going to get a big deal with that UAW contract, it's biting them in the rear end too, the workers, because the Stellantis is just fine. We'll fire y'all. It's our business. We can shut as many factories down as we want in the United States, and they are doing so. Even the EV guys, I was reading this magazine, Inside EVs, are saying, oh, here's two reasons EV sales are lagging. Of course, they didn't hit the real gist of the matter. They're just doing obvious things. One is that they don't have the cheap ones. They're worried about Chinese infiltrating with their lower cost vehicles. They were going to get rid of the Bolt. Then they didn't because it was their biggest seller, but now they're getting rid of it again. They can't make up their minds, right? Do people really want electric cars? Poll most Americans, they say no. We don't want the inconvenience. We don't want range anxiety. We don't have to deal with the new technology that no one knows how to fix. Hey, let's face the facts. Today, cars are getting more and more complex. It's hard enough to get a late model car fixed correctly because most mechanics don't know what they're doing anymore. It's sad but true. They're paying people less that work at the dealerships. Guys that work at dealerships, some of them, they're getting the same pay that they got 10 years ago. Yet they're charging you $180 an hour to work on it. They're not paying the mechanics anymore. They're just pocketing the difference. So what are they going to get? They're going to get crappy mechanics because who's going to work for cheap labor if they're smart? They're going to go somewhere else. Right? They're not going to sit there and work on cars and make the same amount of money some guy pushing carts at a Walmart's making. So it's only common sense. And of course, with new technology, like electric cars, people really don't know how to fix them. And people are finding out they get in a wreck. They got to wait a long time to get the car. Their insurance premiums go up. They wear tires out faster. They're not the miracle that they claim. They cost more than regular cars. They eat up tires more. The insurance is more. You get in a wreck, you might be waiting for months for parts. Something goes wrong with them. Heaven forbid, try to find a guy who knows how to work on electric cars. You add all that together, they got a long way to go before their prime time. They can advertise all the horse manure they want in football games about great electric cars, but they aren't great. And there's many reasons, many more than these two reasons this guy gave, that people are not going for them. Now, hybrids, that's another story. They get phenomenal gas mileage, yet you have no range anxiety because you fill them up with gas. Even if you got a plug-in, you could maybe drive like a RAV4 plug-in 55 miles on electricity or so, and you can pretend it's an electric car when you're in the city just going back and forth. But then again, look at the price differential. A plug-in hybrid RAV4 is like around here, they're going for 56 grand up. A hybrid Camry, guy just bought one down the street, brand new 2025, $31,000. 25 grand more for a plug-in hybrid. Is it worth the money? Well, probably not, right? And that's the big problem. It's the price is just, they're too expensive. People aren't making more and more money, are they? Everything costs more, but they aren't making more and more money. They have less expendable income, and then they're not going to go buy an electric car as a gamble. They're worried about it anyways. And then all that extra money, they're just going to go, I'll stick with my old car. And of course, like I say about cars, best thing to do is buy a used car. You can save a bunch of money if you get a good car like a Toyota or Honda that's been taken care of, and they can run a long time. You can buy them with 80,000 miles. Maybe they'll go 280, right? It's a big gamble buying a used electric car. You get no guarantee. The battery goes. What if it's a $20,000 battery? Hey, it'd be a completely different ball game if 10 years from now, a lot of people are buying used electric cars that are 15, 20 years old, people are going to find out that might not be a smart idea at all. Well, here's a hilarious one. A guy rented his Cybertruck out. You can charge people to drive them or rent them out. Well, guess what? He rented it out. Well, it ended up costing $28,000 in a repair bill. You can rent your cars through Turo. They take a percentage of the cut. I find it a relatively disreputable company. I attempted to rent a Tesla from him once. The guy said he's going to bring him. I was going to make a photo shoot. Then the guy decides that day, oh, I'm not going to rent it to you. It's too much bother, right? So, I mean, it's a real hassle dealing with the crap in the first place. Well, this guy rented his out, and it came back with $28,000 worth of damage. And it's back in my old hometown of Houston, Texas. He rented it out. He charges $500 a day or $250 for 6 hours. And that's going to be out of commission for 2 or 3 months. Now, if you rent your Cybertruck out 15 days a month, you can bring as much as $7,500. So now the thing's getting repaired. Might take months. He's not making any money on it then, right? Now, he's kind of in an interesting situation because somebody said, hey, why don't you use your personal insurance or Turo? Well, here's what a lot of people don't understand. The insurance follows the vehicle, not the driver. So if you rent your car out to somebody, he gets smacked up, your insurance is ultimately responsible for it. That's probably why the other guy said he'd pay it out of pocket. Because if he didn't, it would have gone on the renter's insurance and then wham. Now, some people, they think they got it all figured out. Well, they don't know the law. Okay, this guy says in his post, he rents out the truck directly to rentals with a rental agreement. He adds that the renter has to share his insurance details and bear the damages as expected. It doesn't matter what a piece of paper says. If you own a car, the insurance follows the car, not the driver. You can write all the pieces of paper you want. If they're breaking the law, they don't mean they're going to work, right? And I've seen it happen to a lot of people. They don't understand anything about rental laws. They don't understand it. They don't understand what they're going through Turo. There was a guy who rented one, just a regular Tesla, years ago. I believe on Long Island. The guy was being sued because somebody got killed because his son got in the car and started driving it, found the car. There's all kinds of liability involved in renting things out. After all, you're not a car rental company. It's not as simple as you think. Well, here's something you never expected. Turns out if you live in Australia, you get a triangular metal piece on your license plate that says EV, showing it's an electric car. Well, one person was driving in Australia. That little metal tag fell off and punctured their tire and destroyed their tire. And Tesla tires are pretty expensive, let me tell you. No one knows why it's compulsory to say EV on the back of the license, but it does. It's about this big, triangle. It's metal. It fell off and it punctured your tire. Now they're saying, why don't you make them round instead of triangular? Now, of course, the Australians explain the reason they say EV on the tags. It's a safety reason. So that firemen, they know immediately it's an EV, so they'll know how to deal with it. And they'll know that it's going to be burning hot and they shouldn't get too close to it. Honda is now inviting 500 testers to ride their new electric scooter for free for 90 days. They're going to give them 90 days to ride them around. They are making electric scooters now. Now, there's only one problem. The only people who get tested are people in Tokyo. You got to be in Tokyo. So if you're in Tokyo, hey, apply to Honda. I want to try one of these new scooters out, right? Shame they aren't doing it in the United States. I'd send them a letter. They certainly send me one to test it out. Honestly, Honda makes pretty good vehicles. I'm used to electric bicycles. Electric scooters would be no problem, other than, of course, these are real scooters. They're like gas scooters. They do not have pedals. So when they run out of electricity, unlike electric bicycles, which you can pedal home, these you can't pedal home. And so if you run out of electricity, you will be pushing that scooter a long way. If you're ever going to buy one of these things, my advice is there are companies out there, your insurance policies, check with different companies, that for like $50 a year, one of my customers did it in Rhode Island, you can buy free towing insurance for electric bicycles and electric scooters. And if you're within something like 100 miles of your home, they will pick you up, tow you back home where you can plug them in. I'd advise buying something like that if you get one of these electric scooters, or you'll be left high and dry. Well, an Oxford scientist is now generating solar power without panels. They're using a very thin coating that they can put on many things to generate electricity. It's lightweight, thin, and it's flexible. You can put it on a backpack. It uses a wider range of light, so it generates more electricity. They claim it's over 27% efficient, and that it's almost 150 times thinner than a silicone wafer. It's just over 1 micron thick. So, interesting. Now, who knows? If it's that thin, I'm sure the things, if you put them on stuff, they're going to break. If it's flexible, it's going to snap off. But, I mean, if they can make thin enough ones that hold up, and they can just put it on coatings, you don't have to get these giant, stupid solar panels. Hey, that's a game changer. Mind you, this is all in the experimental stage. Oxford scientists, and they always come up with these claims that then when it comes to reality, they find out, oh, gee, they're so thin. Things break them. Hail would obviously break them if they were that thin. Well, they're flexible. Yeah, how flexible for how long before they break? So I wouldn't hold my breath on this one until it's been out a while and it actually works. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.